Hi everyone, I'm going to be explaining how you would address your literacy capability. Now you can use this for both your proposal and also for your source analysis, which you'll be starting to do in the next couple of weeks. So if literacy is your capability, these are the dot points that you should be developing throughout your research project. So looking at the first dot point, communicating with a range of people in a variety of contexts, we need to unpack this statement. So you might be developing this capability by communicating with people when you're surveying or interviewing them. And the way that you would write this would be, I plan to develop my ability to communicate with a range of people by conducting surveys and interviews, as well as interviewing people over the phone or via email. So that's one way that you could address that capability. Looking at the second dot point, asking questions, expressing opinions, and taking different perspectives into account, most of you will be doing that if you are interviewing or surveying people. So you might address this by saying, I intend to develop my ability to ask questions, express opinions, and take different perspectives into account by interviewing people about their opinion on my research project. Looking at the third dot point, using language with increasing awareness, clarity, accuracy, and suitability for a range of audience contexts and purposes, you are going to be changing the language that you use when you interview and survey people. You want your surveys to be professional and you want them to be detailed to make sure that you get the answers that you're looking for. So you're increasing your ability to use language appropriately by writing your surveys in a more detailed and professional manner. You're also increasing your ability to change the way that you write information to make it more suitable for a person that you're going to interview or making it more suitable for a report. Looking at the fourth dot point, which is accessing, analyzing, and selecting appropriate primary and secondary sources, everyone is going to be doing this in all research projects if literacy is your capability that you are planning to develop. You will be accessing, you will be improving your ability to access resources by using EBSCO database, by using Google Scholar, by improving your ability to look into search engines. You're going to be improving your ability to analyze sources by me teaching you how to analyze a source, looking at credibility and bias and reliability. So you would explain that by I plan to or I am improving my ability to analyze primary and secondary sources by looking at the credibility, relevance, bias, and reliability of sources. You're also going to be improving your ability to select appropriate sources as well. When you look through information on the internet, in a book, on a survey, an interview, you're going to be looking for information that relates to your research project. You're going to become better at selecting the appropriate primary sources. Okay, so you might address that by saying, I plan to develop my abilities to select appropriate primary and secondary sources by being critical when reading the information and trying to work out how it relates back to my research question or sub-questions. Looking at how to engage with and reflect on ways in which texts are created for specific purposes and audiences. If you are researching a question that relies, maybe it's biology based, you're engaging with a text that is created for a specific purpose, which is scientists, and you're engaging with that by learning how to read that. So you might say that I am developing my ability to engage with texts that are created for specific purposes by learning how to read biology textbooks, by learning the vocabulary, and by learning the meanings of the words. You could do the same with looking at a newspaper article or a magazine article, because that is created for a specific purpose and audience as well. Looking at this one here, composing a range of text, whether it be written, oral, visual, or multimodal, Everyone is going to be doing that. So you are going to be interviewing people. It's likely when you interview people, you're going to make it written. When you interview people, you might also compose text through an oral recording of that. You might also be looking at arranging text as a visual using Word doc. So you would say that you were developing your ability to compose a range of text by writing down answers to interviews, conducting oral interviews over the phone, and creating information using Word doc. Looking at this one here, reading, viewing, writing, listening, and speaking using a range of technologies, everyone would do that. So if you start reading using the internet, that's one technology. If you start reading using a DVD, then that's another one. If you start viewing things on YouTube or if you view things on DVDs, that's another range of technology. If you start writing things on the internet or on your Word doc, that's another range of technologies. If you start listening to information, if you've got a podcast that you're listening to, you're using the internet or your phone, okay? And you would just explain how you would do that. So you're developing your ability to read using a range of technologies by using not only the information on the internet, but accessing books through the library database. Looking at this dot point here, understanding that different text types have their own distinctive stylistic features. So you might need to understand that a website has the information laid out in a different way to, say, data sets or reports, and you need to be able to extract that information from that. So you might be developing your understanding of different text types, such as websites in comparison to data sets, and then being able to extract the information that you need from those because you are used to the distinctive stylistic features. The last one, understanding the relationships between literacy, language, and culture. This is understanding that language and literacy have their own relationship, and that sometimes the way that we use language is different compared to other times. Most people won't address this one, so I don't think I'll go through it. If you do think you are going to address it, please ask me in class.